Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Click OK, Neil, Sensual Goat, Adam, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server. So, welcome one and all.
How are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Where's the guns?
We found the guns. I say we. I'll take full credit, even though Adam did all the work, as it should be. But Adam found that there's been a report of a Chilean interception with a guy who landed in Antarctica and hadn't gone to the process like the chaps are alleged to have done when they went down, and by down I mean in a southward flat only direction, to measure Earth flat and call it an experiment. Now they did that having filled out all the forms correctly, so they weren't turned away at gunpoint. But that chap was. I mean, it only took 6 months. I thought it'd take longer. But it's nice that we now found the guns. Meanwhile, my 103 to date repetitions of the fact Earth gets measured flat, regardless of where. I mean, Antarctica's no different. They measured Earth flat in Antarctica. That's still unaddressed. The guns got found, though, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But you know what? It doesn't matter because we had a good time with it. Got a song out of it. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I noticed with the song, I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it on my own channel. I've got too many videos, and it's not like YouTube's algorithm is designed to cope with my thousands of videos on my homepage. So I thought I'll just search YouTube for it. And instead of finding Where Are the Guns Nathan, what I find is a load of crappy bull versions of Where's the Guns Nathan that are produced by no talent hacks. And you kind of think, this is interesting. So to mitigate for a frickin' song, they've had to produce songs under the same title that are garbage? How interesting. And the reason I bring this up is Brian and I'm exhausted. We were discussing this sort of stuff till about 2 in the morning last night. Very late for us. And
Me too.
yeah, you were there, Neil. But it wasn't very late for you. That's why I excluded you. Not because you weren't there. But Brian, myself, and indeed Neil were all discussing this. And it's the motivation behind things like Where Are the Guns? Or, to keep it specific, just Where Are the Guns? Why is it that we, flat earthers, suppressed, poor, downtrodden, why is it that we can come up with songs like Where Are the Guns? Notice it's we again. It's nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm the inspiration for it, along with McToon, but ultimately speaking, it's down to somebody with a lot more talent, musical talent, Mr. Cheswick, right? Well, Mr. Cheswick's motivation is similar to my own in this regard, right? He's not necessarily motivated by money. Now, everybody needs money. And if you watched recent Flat Earth debate shows where I'm talking about this very subject, I'm talking about people's motivation to pour scorn on us, used in metaphor yesterday in discussion format by Brian suggesting that people want to piss down your back and suggest it's raining. Now, in terms of a metaphor, for anybody dumb enough not to realise that's a metaphor for the debate itself, I would suggest that payment would be required. But that ultimately makes me seem quite mercenary, and I'm not, right? I made a decision many years ago to be financially poor and time rich. Now, as it transpires, I never ended up being time rich. I always ended up against the clock to try and keep the mortgage paid financially. You don't expect these things to work out exactly how you hoped, but my main motivation was to be at home while the kids grew up. I'd heard enough people moaning that they hadn't got to experience that when they shuffled their kids off to school and went to their 9 to 5 that meant nothing to them 20 years later. Now me, I'm lucky enough to do a 9 to 5 that isn't a 9 to 5. You know, it's from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to sleep in terms of YouTubing. But it's a job that I love. It's a job that I trained for in college. And nobody, very few people at least, can say that they love their job. I don't want to say nobody, but very few people love their job. And I can say that alongside achieving what I wanted to originally, which is be here while the kids grow up and see them, right? Experience that other people say they regret not being able to. So like, I've made a decision to do that. That means that I'm poor and motivated by different things. Flat Earth YouTubing is the evergreen subject that keeps me motivated to make videos. Today, I'll be honest, like ruthlessly honest, I'm utterly exhausted. I'll put myself on camera so you can see I'm not just messing around. I'm tired. You can probably see it just from looking at me. And it's a combination of doing YouTubing, microphone sales, running up and down to the shop with packages, editing the book, and then unwinding with Brian till 2 in the morning, talking about this subject that I love, Flat Earth. And I'll do it, exhaustion or otherwise, right? Because, as Brian pointed out to me, hell or high water, the show goes out, right? There are occasional exceptions to the rule, but for whatever the show's ran for 7 or 8 years, it's been a daily event that I've religiously kept the time slot for once it was established. And why? Well, because people are creatures of habit. Yeah, people, Neil will testify to this immediately, hopefully, get annoyed when their habits aren't kept in check, right? When they don't get to do their ritualistic listening to this show. Well, people don't like that. They want the ritual, and that's why I've done it in the way that I've done it. They want to see me broadcasting at 2 p.m. UK time. Or if not, they want a live stream going by on a repeat so they can interact with all of their buddies in the live stream chat. Now, I get that, and that's why I do it. But has it been hugely financially rewarding? No, not at all. It's been a right struggle. So why still do it? I get to my point, finally. Because we, Mr. Cheswick and myself in this instance, aren't necessarily motivated by the same things that your average Joe normally is. Your average Joe normally treats life like a dress rehearsal and is doing his 9 to 5 so he can get to the end result of that. You're like, what? Pay your mortgage and live? Now, I get that everyone has to achieve these things. Everyone's got to pay rent and feed themselves. But by the same token, life's not a dress rehearsal, right? This is it. So while you are doing those things, if you're utterly miserable and only doing them, that's working to live, then you're not experiencing life as it should be experienced, in my humble opinion. That's a travesty. You only get one life. Surely you should enjoy it. Surely you should get the most out of it. And surely while you're doing the most mundane of tasks, earning your crust, surely you should try and extract some enjoyment from it, given the amount of time that you dedicate to it, just to keep a roof over your head. Now, I'd rather scrape by in the work aspect, to keep a roof over my head, that is, for the sacrifice of enjoying the job and being motivated. In spite of me being my own boss, I don't have to run today's show. I could just go and have a snooze. Right? But I don't want to. I want to sit here exhausted. I want to talk to Neil. I want to talk to you, the audience. I want to communicate the Earth being measured flat as the revelation that it truly is. Sometimes it's overcome and thwart the miscommunications of our opponents who suggest that there's been currently, the rhetoric of the day, is a mass exodus over the last 6 months since the lie known as the final experiment actually flat Earth measurements after travelling in a flat Earth southerly direction, flying straight and level to a place where they've made multiple flat Earth measurements. Now, this idea is something that I can keep going with. There'll be something else in 6 months, right? Something that's slightly less laughable for the people doing it, you know, saying it's final. Maybe it'll be the same people after the final experiment. What with it being final and all? Who knows? Who cares? It's all very amusing. But we're not motivated the same way. So Cheswick, when he produced Where Are the Guns, or Where's the Guns, Nathan, the song, He's not doing it so he can turn that into 100 grand, like music revenue. He's under no apprehensions that that's suddenly going to develop a massive amount of money for him. It won't. In order for it to get a reasonable number of views, I've attached it to the homepage of Nathan Oakley 1980, knowing what that does to a video. It will generate views every time someone lands on my homepage for Where Are the Guns, Nathan. It's like that song, just from a vanity point of view, it's not even mine, deserves to have a number next to it worthy of the talent that's gone into it, Mr. Cheswick's talent. So for that reason, it's gone onto the homepage so that when someone comes across it by search, unlikely, but if they were to, or get shared it, more likely, they'll look at it, hear it, say it's catchy, and at least look down and see that there's 10,000 views or something like that after a year or so, rather than it being something with 500 views just because it's got Flat Earth in the title or Flat Earth association with it because Cheswick's made it or I'm publishing it. So yeah, it's one of those. You don't get that from somebody who's motivated for their own self-indulgence, to protect themselves from their own ignorance. That's what the anti-Flat Earthers are doing. They know the awful truth deep down and want to brace against it. Every time they hear me talking about Flat Earth measurements, I mean, no doubt it makes them shudder, and they, rather than recognising that awful truth, want to shut your channel, shut me down. But it's never going to happen. Right, we're motivated by different things. Like I say, their motivation, the anti-Flat Earthers' motivation, is to not look stupid. And to who? Nobody cares. People in their own little wrapped-up world think that the people around them who, sometimes me, for example, I could put McToon or Craig or Simon Dan in my title. Does that mean I've dedicated more than 20 seconds of thought to that title? Does it mean I'm sat around for the rest of the day thinking about Simon Dan? No. I'm far more concerned with me. Of course. I'm my own star in my own show, aren't I? Simon Dan has very little influence over that. But to Simon Dan, everyone's thinking about him because he's the star of his own show. So he, in his perception, thinks everyone else is looking at him. That's how people view the world. Everyone's thinking about me, everyone's talking about me. So when you see someone with, in my case, my name in their title, is the assumption that they're spending a huge amount of time thinking about me? No, on the contrary, in the case of anti-Flat Earth versus Flat Earthers, it's them projecting their pain onto me. Yeah? Me, when I'm pointing out an argument about how somebody utilises a Flat Earth measurement, for the sake of argument or discussion in this case, Toon, in Antarctica, or point out that we're motivated by making good music, rather than thwarting good music that has got a catchy tune to it. That's what our opponents are motivated by. They're never going to produce good quality music with that. They're never going to produce good quality arguments. And generally speaking, the material itself that they're churning out is garbage. You know, in general, fair, even playing fields, these scumbags wouldn't be getting anywhere on YouTube. They're generally fundamentally unlikable. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm the most likeable character in the world. I've been tarnished by people telling me to drink bleach for 10 years. Because they don't like me pointing out Earth's flat and therefore want to project their pain onto me. But that's just life, you know. Doesn't change how talented Mr. Cheswick is or how catchy Where's the Guns Nathan ended up being.
Nathan.
Yes.
I don't think it's wrong for you to take a little credit for that song, because that song would never be if you did not break tradition and go live that Sunday morning. There would have never been a phone call. It was all God ordained.
Yeah, I got buttered up a lot yesterday in this discussion, in case you can't figure this out. So Brian was telling me that some of the stuff that he's done in recent times is motivated directly by my motivation to do the show regularly. Come hell or high water, the show runs live. And Brian, it was, you know, obviously I'm blushing while I'm saying this, was telling me how that's directly motivated him. You're like, wow, that's cool. You know? And like expressed a moment ago by Neil, Where's the Guns came off the back of MC Toon ruining what was a well-orchestrated plan to the most part, right? You've corralled all these individuals into groups. You've managed to, let's say it's organic. I don't think it is. I think Jaron's a shill. But let's pretend he's not. And it organically occurred that his biggest group of people happened to be ushered into a situation where, by false dichotomy, Earth can't be flat if we see a 24-hour sun. If you want us to undress and unpack the fallacies involved, go back through any of the shows prior to TFE for us to unpack the false dichotomy on each side of the affirming the consequent on the side of each of the false dichotomy. For globe and flat, that is. But the point is that once that's occurred, you've then got this plan where it's set in motion that those people will be disbanded. Their exodus, if you will. But then Toon comes along and decides he's going to phone me up, gets told he's measuring Earth flat, and then starts yelling about guns. I mean, he couldn't have undermined it more if he'd have tried. But that got ascribed to me because obviously it's me getting the phone call, right? So you can hardly not ascribe it to me. The title's about me because it's me that's being yelled about into the snow. But as I say, from Toon's perspective, let's take it from someone else's. From McDuffie's perspective, how infuriating is that? You've laid down this plan, you've spent all this money, you've laid out your false dichotomy, you've got a large chunk of people to buy into it. You've got flirfs ready to relinquish their own belief that they shouldn't be having. They've got measurements to go by now. But nevertheless, we were being called scammers while we were trying to point that out. But that whole group is set to be disbanded, and then Toon starts yelling about frickin' measurements, and me deflecting with them, and where are the guns? What? Oh my God. I'd be furious if I was Duffy. Wouldn't you be? Like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, it's all because you went live on that Sunday. When was the last time you ever did a show on a Sunday prior to that?
I don't think I have. Maybe when the show was first running and I was figuring out which day it was, 7 or 8 years ago. But other than that, I mean, I'm self-employed. Why would I work? I don't want to work on a Sunday. I get slightly irritated once every other week because we do Ballbusters on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, this is my time with my wife that you're chewing into. However, given the level of help and dedication from someone like Quantum Eraser, it's not unreasonable to offer some back as the co-host of Ballbusters.
Anyway, it goes down as a historic day because I don't know how everybody got together. You opened the link. I guess I saw it and everybody saw it. And it was very historic how when they went to prove a 24-hour sun for globe, they proved a flat Earth. Well done, boys.
Yeah, well done, lads. What's that? You've managed to disband people because Jaren's crowd were saying that if Earth is flat, then we can't see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Really? Who'd have thought that McToon would have ballsed it all up by saying, you tried to deflect with measurements? Yeah, that's what it's all about, though, isn't it, really? How Earth's measured. Flat in the case of these lies about experiments. They're just measurements of a flat Earth. That's all they ever were. Like levelling something to a surface perpendicular for weight. That's a flat Earth measurement. It's a prerequisite. You're levelling the tool. Now, even as they say it in their own live streams, they don't appreciate the irony of not having anything level, not having horizontal or perpendicular on a ball. That non-existent concept. They don't even get it. Me pointing it out to them will result with them projecting deflection. Now, I'm not trying to deflect with measurements when it's the literal 100th time pointing it out to McToon. How is that deflection? It's the 100th repetition. It's not a deflection, it's a fact that you can't cope with. What's that? You need to deflect to guns. Yeah. How did that work out? Did it look good? No, only 6 short months later, someone's getting taken away from the Antarctic, place you were at gunpoint. Why? Because he didn't have permission to be there. Yeah? Exactly my point 9 years ago when I made that comment that's been used in Strawman to deflect from measurements of a flat Earth that you all made down there. Down being south. South's a flat Earth direction. You got there on a plane that flew straight and level and measured its altitude with respect to sea level to remain in straight and level flight for the entire journey. Everything you did proved Earth was flat, and we pointed it out every step of the way. Well, you went, if we use the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection of a flat Earth that used your model, and we see a 24-hour sun, well, this model, well, that won't work, so therefore Earth ain't flat. And Jaren's even confirmed it by suggesting the affirming the consequent verbally. Therefore, every person in Jaren's field and group will be disbanded upon a seeing 24-hour sun. and measuring the flat Earth elevation angle to it for a 24-hour period, said everyone at Nathan Oakley. What's that? Where are the guns? Yeah, we found them, as I said at the beginning of the show. The Chilean government aren't very pleased when people land on their bit of Antarctica without permission, and they'll escort them away, and it'll make the news. But Toon, obviously having filled out all the forms, only to go there and start yelling my name and measuring Earth flat. I mean, he didn't get met by gunpoint because he had permission to be there. So there weren't any guns for you, you stupid dickhead. What did you think you were filling out the forms for? Just stupid, right, Toon? You complete idiot. How did that work out there, that phone call to me on Sunday? Did it work out well, or did it work out with you asking for guns that showed up 6 months later and suggesting that I was deflecting? No, you were. Deflecting from the measurements. Not to them. Not me. You. So, the flat Earth that got measured in Antarctica drew a conclusion, a finality that we will be utilising. Yeah, it wasn't an experiment, but it absolutely was final. They measured Earth flat there. What's that? Where are the guns? I don't give a crap where the guns are. You're measuring Earth flat. And it's not a deflection. It's a statement of absolute fact that you affirmed for us without me having to lift a finger. Check out the pre-show if you're a member. So we go through Brian's Logics video, where he's, to be fair, he's giving ballers more than they deserve when he starts describing flat Earth only concepts functioning for them on a ball, and pointing out the use of non-perspective based orthographic mathematics that have been bastardized by anti-flat earthers like Petey. Now, I don't see how anything beyond a measurement of an elevation off a surface level can move forward in any argument. Now, that's not a criticism of Brian. Brian's intellect is stunning. It's fantastic. To be able to do that mentally, to go through those gymnastics, is beyond me. Now, Brian's not even trained mathematically. I mean, neither am I. But what I'm saying is he's not Adam. He's not a mathematician. So to jump through those hoops and to do those dances, to cognitively bend a flat plane to allow your opponent to feel like they've been given a fair crack of the whip, is a step far beyond I would ever be willing to give them. What's that? You measured your height? What, off sea level? Sea level? The level of the sea? Yeah, Earth's flat, you dickhead. You measured it flat. What's that? You measured your angle with respect to a planar surface and an angle up to the sun for 24 hours. You measured Earth flat, you numpties. You think I give a crap where the guns are? So yeah, check out Brian's video in the pre-show if you are a member. If you're not a member, maybe consider becoming a member. Get to see all this stuff. Or you can just go to Brian's channel and watch it there. Did you all enjoy Brian's video, by the way? I didn't really interrupt it much. There wasn't much interruption to be... I mean, 2 or 3 times, but there wasn't much to interrupt it with.
Yes, Nathan, I liked it.
Well, that's how yesterday's discussion that wasn't taped was ended with Brian, myself, and Neil, which is to say, Brian saying, "Can you watch my video?" And me saying, "Of course, I'll watch it tomorrow." And dutifully, I've watched it in the pre-show, so you don't get to watch it in the audience, unfortunately for you. But you can go and check out Brian's Logics channel. Thanks, son. And coffee brought to me because I'm so knackered. There might not be an after show today. I'm just too tired. It really is getting harder and harder for me, the book, watching it go through the slow process of editing it for the 4th time on the 4th draft. Just taking it out of me. Do you enjoy it, Neil, sitting watching the book editing process? Yes, Nathan. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it, Neil. For me, it's incredibly frustrating. But it will get done eventually, and the standards will be higher if it's not for the very conscientious gaze of both Quantum Eraser and the Adam Meakin. You know, there's as I've said many times, there's a layer of polish being put on the book that will make it a cut above. Anything you guys want to cover today? Hello? It seems like I'm talking to myself a little bit.
Yeah, my phone just disconnected. I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Asking if there's anything you want to cover. Talking about Brian's Logics video. Talking about the help
I
that I've
wanted to
got.
go over the one I posted. I wanted to go over the one Liam posted the other day, but we didn't even go over it. We went over it on the middle, but
Where
I
is
don't
it?
know.
You mean the one from Answers in Genesis? Which one?
Canada.
Yeah.
The one we covered yesterday? You want to carry on with the one we covered yesterday? Is that what you're saying?
You started like totally in the middle. We didn't even miss the beginning. I don't know. You know what? I don't want to cover that. Let's do something else.
I was just hoping to have a
Kind of
chit-chat.
want to.
Go on.
I had a suggestion.
Feel free.
Kind of like wanted to cover the scam Antarctica from Space Busters, but it's like a 3-hour long documentary about Antarctica. I just didn't know if you guys were interested in that, but maybe get a clip of that out.
I mean,
Is that the one with Duffy doing a 24-hour thing, constantly running it on Celebrate Truth?
no. So let's just explain that to the audience. I haven't got a clue about this, but from what I glean, and fill me in, feel free on the audience side to tell me if I'm wrong about this, right? For some reason, Duffy has acquired the ability to stream on Celebrate Truth, another sizable Christian channel. So,
That's
whatever-
correct.
okay. So Duffy's now, I mean, is it just me or is it very incestuous with the whole sharing channels and sharing wives thing over on the ball side? What's that all about? What's
And
going
Nathan,
on?
that channel is pumping out video after video.
Yeah. About what? Fill me in. I don't watch Celebrate Truth.
About the 24-hour excrement.
Okay. So they're pumping out this. On screen now is the elevation angle measurement that Toon was yelling at the snow, my name, because of his measurement of this. It's an elevation angle measurement to the sun. That's what they took as measurements for 24 hours. It requires a flat planar surface. Here's a visual representation of the sun moving around your position for 24 hours, measured with angles off a flat plane. That's what it looks like. It's on screen now. So I get called proactively. I didn't phone them. But I get called proactively by one of the participants of TFE, the final mathematical measurement of a flat Earth with angles to the sun and perpendicular weighing of things with respect to a planar reference that's flat. Well, all of these flat Earth measurements, I pointed out that they're measuring Earth flat, and apparently where the guns are is a lot more important than this. It's on screen now. This is how they measured Earth, with angles. Now, if they're suggesting that the surface is curved, then these aren't angles, and they didn't measure anything. So you can't have it both ways. Either they measured a flat Earth for the angles that they measured. That's what they did do, by the way. There's no two ways about this, yeah? It's not like I'm capable of being debunked. Toon measured the Earth flat. That's why he's yelling my name into the snow, yeah? If you don't get that yet, yeah, wait. You'll get it eventually, you bunch of dumbos. This is it. It's on screen. This is an elevation angle measurement to the sun. That's all it is. It's a flat Earth prerequisite. What's that? The ground's bending? Well, then it's not an angle measurement. It's two straight lines, you bunch of dumbos. Now, you can say, Nathan says Earth is measured flat. That's Toon's reaction so far. That was his most recent response to the 103rd rendition of me pointing out this is a flat Earth only measurement that he's made. Facts. His response was to put in quotes a misspelling of me saying Earth is measured flat. Saying Earth, E-R-F. Yeah? No, that's not a rebuttal. Yeah? It's just misspelling how I say the facts of the matter in this case and point it out diagrammatically. These are the flat Earth measurements made in Antarctica. Go ahead, Neil.
Sorry, there's so much noise here. I didn't even hear you. Just post it in chat. This one says, rest in peace, Flat Earth, and it's from Celebrate Truth, and it's Duffy. I told you, they're running it almost 24/7. Robbie Davidson has now turned into a baller channel and he lets baller rhetoric go on all day long.
Fine. I mean, so Robbie Davidson's smelling a bit chilly, is what you're saying, right?
I never trusted him. I never liked him.
Welcome to the final experiments.
Final experiments with an S on the end. Duffy, do you not feel like a stupid moron? Experiments. So where's the finality? Is it in the first one? Second one? Third one? Where's the final bit coming? Yeah? Let me introduce you to the Lone Rangers.
I knew you would get a kick out
The
of that
final
beginning,
experiments
Nathan.
are a preponderance of evidence.
So where's the finality, right? There was me thinking this TFE, the final experiment, was this. Going to Antarctica, calling stuff experiments and measuring Earth flat with elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours, right? So you go to Antarctica, you measure Earth flat, you call it an experiment, and then what, when that doesn't hit home hard enough, we need another final experiment. It's the preponderance of finality. Crackhead. Are you insane, Duffy? Do you feel like a stupid shill? 'Cause you look like one, and the words pouring out your dumbass mouth make you sound like one.
Against flat Earth. And the final experiments all confirm the globe.
Do they? How do they confirm a globe when you measured elevation angles off a flat surface level? Now, if they confirmed a globe, it would mean that the surface level measured for the angles to the sun was curved and they're not angles anymore. So I'm a bit confused, Duffy. Do you want to let me know? Because I studied your experiments and they were elevation angles. I had them on screen earlier. I made it explicitly clear to my audience what you were measuring. I also told one of the participants while he was measuring them, you're measuring Earth flat, Toon. The response I got was something about guns. Now, we got to the bottom of that stupid wankery, didn't we, Duffy? Yes, someone's been recently escorted away at gunpoint because they didn't have the forms filled in like you bunch of dickheads did. Yeah, so you can fly straight and level with your altitude measured in the black box data with respect to the sea level that you flow over parallel with it in level flight. To arrive south, a destination that's only describable on a flat plane, to measure elevation angles to the sun for 24 hours off a flat plane. What's that, you confirmed globe? Well, then they weren't measurements of angles, Duffy. So are you tossing your stupid non-experiment measurement of angles off a flat plane surface to the curb because you confirmed how curvy the angle was? That sounds stupid, Duffy. You sound stupid.
These experiments were all conducted in December of 2024 when 4 flat earthers and 4 globers went on a journey to Antarctica with
the flight measuring straight and level journeys with respect to surface level, the altitude indication in all black box data for all flights always shows that Earth is measured flat. You can't fly straight and level parallel with the ground at a fixed altitude. It's called flight level, unless Earth is flat. So the journey, as was pointed out by Brian's logic, he was also on the panel when your mate down there measuring elevation angles off a flat Earth called me. Yeah, I mean, maybe you'd like to strawman what flat earthers say, but I'm pretty sure I was the only flat earther that was communicated with directly from Antarctica. So for whatever reason, I'm pretty sure you need to address what I say in regards to the deflection to measurements, end quote, Toon. He said it after calling me from the surface of Antarctica. The one he measured flat with the angles he said I tried to deflect with when he deflected to where the guns were on your pre-planned trip.
with me, Will Duffy. We spent time in Punta Arenas, Chile, which is at the southern tip of South America.
South is a flat earth only direction. Hello, numpty. Point south, you stupid batshit insane retard. South is not down. South is horizontal. Go and buy yourself a compass and look at what south does. Yeah? Are you a crackhead? Do you not know what south is? The moment you say south, you can only travel south flat. Have you never used a map, you stupid dickhead?
America before flying to Antarctica.
Yeah, on a flat plane. Again, Brian pointed this out to you personally, didn't he, Duffy? In the communication that Brian had with you that you and I have never had. Like, you've lied about communicating with me via email for invitations that I've turned down. You're a lying shitbag. Like, you will be condemned to hell for your deceit. Because that's all you do, lie. Now, you also justified to congregations of Christians that that's perfectly okay. It ain't. You're a deceitful scumbag who lies. Meanwhile, Brian has been in touch with you specifically about the journey being flat. Level flight, dum-dum.
This entire trip allowed us to conduct historic experiments.
No, you measured the Earth flat with elevation angles. That's what you actually did, Duffy. That's why it's now Lone Rangers, preponderance of final experiments, plural. You stupid dickhead. Because you measured Earth flat there. Do you not recall the sound of my name ringing around the Antarctic snow, man? Did you not hear him? Let me give you a reconstruction of what occurred. Yeah, you're measuring Earth flat there, Toon. Where are the guns, Nathan? You lied! Since 2018, you've been saying you'd be stopped at gunpoint. You know what? Recently, they have actually stopped someone at gunpoint and turned them away. Just so we got that little stupid, insane demonstration of a madman yelling my name into the snow because I pointed out that you're measuring Earth flat there, Toon. Yeah? So, Duffy, given that you heard my name ringing out in the snow, I'm surprised you're still calling them experiments. Yeah? It was so frustrating to the person measuring them. That would be the elevation angles that are only capable of being angles if they're measured on a flat Earth. Yet he yelled my name and talked about guns. I'm pretty sure you heard him.
And collect data firsthand from an area of the world that few people will ever have the opportunity to visit. And
I didn't need to. I mean, I got told firsthand while it was occurring that there was flat Earth elevation angle measurements being made. Let me show you what an elevation angle measurement looks like. Like this. Every time you see a number with a degree after it, when they describe the angle to the sun for a 24-hour period, there's an angle along the flat Earth surface to the GP of the sun. That's the point directly below the sun on the ground at 90 degrees to the sun. It's an angle. An elevation angle, specifically requiring two straight lines, one being the surface level. Because that's what they're measuring. Now, if they say they affirm that this is bent, then none of their measurements being called experiments were actually angles. Because that's two straight lines, one's the surface. As depicted here. Now, this isn't my depiction. This is just an angle being represented to the sun in pictorial form. It can only be represented one way. Notice how we don't have a wankerism curve in one of the lines that forms the angle, because then it won't be an angle. In other words, that's these bunch of cretins, either get on their knees and acknowledge the surface level that's flat that they measured and called an experiment, or they kick this to the curb and ask where the guns are. Yeah? So let's just get it summarised. Toon, you measured this. That's not a disputable. That's a fact. Toon measured these angles off of surface level. Facts. Indisputable flat Earth measurement facts. What's that? Where's the guns ain't gonna cut it, you cretin? Calling them experiments means you must stand by them. And if you stand by this angle, then you stand by the surface being measured flat. Like Toon was told 103 times. Literally.
and do this themselves.
I didn't need to. Not only did I not need to do it personally, one of your participants called me up while he was doing it and then went nuts when I pointed out he was measuring a flat earth. Like, literally bonkers, started screaming my name into the snow about guns. Like he forgot about all the forms he had to fill in to not get stopped at gunpoint. Suddenly that all got forgotten about because he was being asked about the flat Earth measurements he was making, Duffy. You're calling them experiments, mate.
Prior to my announcement of the final experiment in early 2024, a vast majority of flat earthers, with very few exceptions.
How many of them got phoned from Antarctica? None of them. So this little straw man doesn't include the only flat earther called from Antarctica. It seems like a very egregious burn him in hell kind of straw man lie that you're telling here. There's only one flat earther that was contacted, that you went out of your way to utilise the very expensive communication techniques you had available to you to get in touch with me personally. Now, I debunked this shit on screen 10 years ago, and it's been pointed out to one of the participants who took part and then also lied, Jaren. Yeah, Jaren was acutely aware, and when it was put to him during the lead-up to this garbage charade called an experiment, actually just a flat Earth elevation angle measurement session from the south, only measurable on a flat Earth, after travelling straight and level on a plane. Yet Jaren already knew this garbage was debunked, didn't he? But he didn't mention it either. Very shilly. Yeah? We did track the sun. We've already debunked this crap. And we pointed out the affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy that was being used on our behalf as a straw man by people like Duffy. But given that I'm the only flat earther contacted, you'd think that, given I'm not buying into this garbage that's being misrepresented by Duffy, that they'll actually take the time to not yell about guns and address the flat earth measurements. No, it's just the straw man, the only flat earther called from Antarctica, and what he did 10 years ago to debunk this shit, that doesn't get taken into consideration. Because all the other flat earthers, the ones that weren't called from Antarctica, oh, they'll definitely buy this. So how come the only one who got a phone call doesn't and debunked it 10 years before you went down there? And one of your number knew it and affirmed it live before you got there? Oh, yeah, it was only an hour out. Yeah, that's right, it was out. AKA wrong. Jaren knew. He affirmed it before he got there.
Promoted the Gleason's map of the world.
No, this is a straw man, a lie. I hope you burn in hell. You're a Christian, right? It just warrants hell. Okay? That's where you belong. No. Do you want to go and check out the track in the sun on a flat earth life? I mean, you went through my material and other people's material to find a comment from 8 years ago where I say that you'd be stopped at gunpoint. You know, I was proven correct. You bunch of dickheads. So you went and dug out a straw man so you could avoid answering the awful fact of you measuring Earth flat when put to you, in favour of a straw man from me. So you've obviously gone through 8 years of my comments. But you didn't notice the track in the sun on a flat Earth where we debunked this crap, right? You found a comment saying that you'd be stopped at gunpoint. Turns out that was absolutely correct. Unless you go through the process that you all went through to stop that happening. To then say, where are the guns? Because you're idiots. Yeah? Meanwhile, you didn't find the track in the sun. That seems a bit stupid. Comments about guns, yeah, you can find one obscure comment on a random video, but you can't find an entire playlist that's on my homepage. That seems a bit stupid. Seems like crap research to me. But yet you want to misrepresent the entire flat Earth community based on what the rest of the people who weren't contacted from Antarctica have got to say about it according to you, Duffy. The lying shyster. The fraudster. Yeah?
Which is an azimuthal equidistant projection.
Of a globe. So it's globe versus globe in a North Pole azimuthal equidistant globe-centric projection. It's just Duffy's a shyster and a liar and holding up this straw man and saying that the flat Earth model he's claiming it is actually a globe projection might make him look like a disingenuous shyster who should burn in hell for his deceit. Yeah, that's exactly what it would make him look like, because he is a disingenuous lying shitbag who failed to mention this is a globe projection. Meanwhile, these lines from your globe projection are measured flat with Polaris, aren't they? So if we've got a North Pole-centric azimuthal equidistant projection that's utilising Polaris-based measurements, shouldn't we look at the measurements? Because the measurements are also stretched around a ball but incapable of being measured when these lines wrap around a ball. So I would suggest that given we definitely use latitude on a daily basis and you can only measure it flat, that means that we measure Earth flat for latitude. So that's it. That's the end of this discussion. If you're going to look at maps and models, you'd be better off presenting an actual flat Earth model rather than this globe projection, because you'll get called a shyster, a deceiver, a liar. And based on your Christian background, I would suggest you are worthy of a trip to hell to burn for your deceit and failure to disclose the fact of your globe projection on screen being strawmanned as a flat Earth projection I personally debunked 10 years ago with the help of Jaron, another shyster.
This map had the North Pole at the center.
Sorry, north, yeah, what, accurately represented in a horizontal orientation as north can only be. Yeah, that's right. North, you seem to have used when you describe travelling to Antarctica or Chile. So you'll be describing a flat Earth only orientation and directionality when you say south or north. So there we go. So Earth's going to be measured flat for now, north, south, level trips to Antarctica, elevation angle measurements to the sun, and perpendicular planes of reference for weight. Everything you've done, literally everything Duffy has done for TFE, affirmed the flat Earth that's been measured in all instances. There were no exceptions. Every measurement that was made was of a flat Earth.
And pushed the south to the outer perimeter of the known world.
It's a map. An incorrect map that we debunked 10 years ago of a globe projection that utilises measurements of a flat Earth with angles to Polaris.
This made Antarctica an ice wall perimeter.
No, it didn't. That's called a reification fallacy. The map is not the terrain. Hypothesization, the fallacy of misplaced concretedness. Misappropriating maps as the ground. No! Projecting out Antarctica on an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection puts Antarctica on the outside edge of the map when you project it azimuthal equidistant. Well, we don't live on an azimuthal equidistant projection, you stupid clown. That's a reification fallacy, you dum-dum.
Around all the world's continents, which served to hold in all the world's oceans.
It's a map! Nothing's holding in the world's oceans. Certainly not a map. Maps don't hold in jack. Azimuthal North Pole-centric globe projections aren't containers, you clown.
As flat earthers claim, water must have a container.
Water must have a container so that you can contain it. But in terms of what a map will do, a map is not a container. So your straw man where you suggest flat earthers say my reification fallacy of a globe projection. No, what I say, the only flat earther contacted from Antarctica personally, what I say is you'll measure Earth flat for one of the systems using Polaris. That's what I say. Are there any other measurements? Do we measure latitude any other way other than on a flat Earth? Because that's what I actually say. But this soon to be burning in hell, straw man burning asshole, lying shyster, deceiver, yeah, suggests that the model that isn't the world that we're standing on, that is the map of a globe projection, should be holding in water. Therefore what? When the sun's measured for 24 hours with angles of a flat Earth, we won't have water needing containment? This is stupid.
It also extends the entire southern hemisphere.
Hemisphere is the flat plane angle measurement utilising Polaris to create a hemispherical view based on angles to the stars. If you are to measure a star at your horizon in a protractor, that's 0 or 180 on the protractor. If you are to measure a star at your zenith, that is 90 on a protractor. Now, just because there's a star capable of measuring at the horizon does not mean that star has smashed into the ground. In fact, it is planar. Not the ground, although it is. The sky is planar. That star measured at 1 degree above the horizon, or at 180 on the other side of the protractor, that star is above someone else's head where you're measuring it at the horizon. That is to say that that view that you create mathematically is hemispherical. But what you're actually measuring is a flat ground and a flat sky to then depict it through a protractor view. If you were to look at the sky like this diagram on screen and imagine that this is your location. Wrong diagram up. If you were to imagine that this was your location and you are measuring the sky flat, when the sun is at your zenith, it is at 90 degrees. When the sun is above this man's zenith, it's at 45 degrees. When you measure the sun at the horizon, it's still above next man in line zenith. It's still above him. But for you, measuring a perspective view through a protractor, you see it through the protractor at a given degree value, off a flat plane. So if you imagine all of the stars being viewed through a protractor from your vantage point, it creates a hemispherical view from your perspective. You're here, there's a star on the horizon and a star at your zenith. That doesn't mean the star's smashed into the ground, it's still above someone else if someone else is standing here. But that's the view. Hemispherical, measured flat. So when Duffy starts talking about Earth being a sphere or the sky being a sphere, that is a bastardization after the fact when you measure Earth and sky flat with angles. Now, just because you can see angles through a hemispherical protractor doesn't mean the sky curves. It certainly doesn't mean the ground curves, because then you don't have a view through the protractor anymore. This is what Duffy is detailing. You in the centre of a flat, extended plane. When inside the globe, you can call it the equatorial plane. When it's extended beyond the globe, the flat plane that we measure, it's called the celestial plane. They're both flat planes, they're both where you measure angles, and they both start in hell, if you believe you're in a globe. Now, we're not measuring angles inside globes, we can't, but so that you can represent the protractor view of a flat plane and flat sky, you can pretend that the view of the sky is a hemisphere, the same one you measured it with a protractor. In reality, you've got a flat sky and flat ground, and you will never measure anything from hell. But that's the system that gets created for you numpties to believe you're standing on a surface that is created from within a globe, on a plane, measuring angles to stars like Polaris to create the systems like latitude. Measured flat. Earth is measured flat to create this hemispherical system being detailed by Duffy.
Into a larger and larger area, where on the globe, everything south of the equator gets closer and closer together.
Wrong. Duffy doesn't understand his own stupid, insane model. You're never on a globe measuring angles. You can't measure an angle from a curved surface. Curves don't give you angles. Where you do measure angles from is the flat plane depicted in a ball, because the ball is nothing more than a glorified protractor. That's how you acquire angles if you're going to reify models, which Duffy definitely does. Me, I can accurately and concisely describe the requirement for surface level being measured by Toon. Sorry, what's that? Can you hear that? Where are the guns, Nathan? You lied! No, I didn't lie, you stupid dickhead. The Chilean government escorted a man away from Antarctica at gunpoint because he didn't have permission to be there like you clowns measuring angles off a flat Earth.
This made being at the southern tip of South America
Is south. That's flat. Game over. If you're going to describe a directionality south, go and buy a compass, you batshit insane moron. Look at south. Point south. Does that look down to you? Do you not understand the difference between down and south, you stupid idiot? South is flat.
and in Antarctica, the perfect place to test flat Earth claims and also confirm the globe predictions.
But test flat Earth claims. Me saying you'll measure a flat Earth there 99 times before you arrived. Yeah, to Toon. I told him 99 times before he got there that he measured Earth flat with elevation angles. That's not me exaggerating. That's not Creaky Blinder saying, I've told these flat earthers hundreds of times. That's literally, I've counted them. 99 times Toon got told that he'd be measuring a flat Earth. Not asked, not a claim, me telling him. Yeah? You understand? Now, it's not a shock to me that as soon as he got out his tools and started measuring the angles to the sun, he measured the same angles that I told him 99 times he'd measure off a flat Earth. It's the only way to measure them. They're elevation angles. They're only capable of measurement off a flat Earth. That's what they are. So it's not a shock that upon calling me proactively from the snow, the only flat earther who had such privilege, yeah, he got told for the 100th time, you're measuring a flat Earth with elevation angles to the sun. Yeah, that's what actually happened. It's not a prediction. It's me telling you, you measure Earth flat. That's not indeed in requirement of a response. What you want to do? Tell me that I'm right? You went and confirmed it after I told him 99 times. So you think the response to the 99th rendition of me saying you measure a flat Earth with elevation angles was to go and measure them in Antarctica? Because that's exactly what Toon did. If you want to suggest that you went there to affirm flat earthers' predictions. No, you had a false dichotomy that you strawmanned us with, that I debunked 10 years earlier. I just covered it 10 minutes ago. But what I did tell you in no uncertain terms, yeah, that was absolutely affirmed. I say 99 times, you measure Earth flat with angles, and then he measured Earth flat with angles and got a bit nuts when I pointed it out for the 100th time, live as he was doing it. Toon measuring a flat Earth, that is. Yeah, sent him nuts. Do you remember? I'd like to know from you, Duffy. It's just a question. I'm asking for a friend. Did you hear my name echo around Antarctica? I'm asking for a friend.
Every single flat Earth claim failed.
Yeah, that might be the case. But the statement of fact that I made about measuring a flat Earth, they were never going to change, and there was no other thing to happen other than Toon measuring a flat Earth, and that's precisely what he did. That's why he went nuts. Again, asking for a friend. When he went nuts and started yelling about guns, feel free to check out the reports of the Chilean government escorting people off Antarctica. So he dispensed with his slight breakdown that he had when he deflected from the flat Earth measurements he'd heard about 99 times previously, and the 100th time broke him, to the point where he started yelling my name. I'm just asking, Duffy, did you hear my name? Because you would have been within a few yards of him yelling it into the Antarctic abyss. They made a song about it. You might have heard it. It was by Mr. Cheswick. It's quite catchy. Yeah? The sun is shining, he's alone, yelling into his iPhone, screaming at the top of his lungs, there's a 24-hour sun! Yeah, he measured that flat though, didn't he?
Every flat Earth prediction was demonstrably false.
But the measurements were flat. So, I mean, the predictions, who gives a crap about? Mystic Meg can make predictions over a crystal ball. Doesn't really mean much. But when I say as an absolute statement of fact that Earth can only and will only be measured flat 99 times to McToon, I wasn't in any way anticipating that would suddenly change the 100th time I repeated it to him. And what do you know? He was literally measuring Earth flat as I said it for the 100th time when he called me from Antarctica and then yelled my name. So just for my mate, did you hear my name yelled, Duffy? I bet you did.
I made some predictions before they went. Do you remember what they were?
Remind us.
That every single measurement that they take will use a plane of reference.
Oh, well, that prediction came true. So Duffy's a liar. You're just a liar, Duffy. I hope you burn in hell for your deceit. It didn't take long. There's a person on the panel that just overturned your egregious lies that you like to tell your audiences. No, we made predictions about you measuring a flat Earth, and they came true. You did. Just asking for a friend. Did you hear my name yelled into the snow? I'll quote what was being yelled. He tried to deflect with measurements, end quote. It was yelled into the snow. You couldn't have been more than 10 yards away from him while he was screaming my name about the measurements that you were taking. He'd heard about it 99 times prior. I mean, you don't call that a prediction, but John here definitely made predictions that you'd measure Earth flat there. And you did, and then yelled my name into the snow about guns. So we dealt with the guns, yeah? Chilean government escorting people who aren't supposed to be there away with their guns.
The final experiments are meant to be taken collectively, just like evidence in a court of law.
Oh, really? This isn't a court of law, though. Sorry, Judge! Judge! Judge, you're a wanker. There's no judge here, Duffy. Are you insane? Are you seeing things? Are you hallucinating juries, man? There's no judge. There's no jury. There's just me telling Toon 100 times that he measured Earth flat. There's just John predicting that he'd measure a flat Earth there. And you did. Yeah, there's no judge. There's no jury. It's just us. We're judging you, and so will God when he condemns you to hell for your deceit.
Undoubtedly, flat earthers will attempt to...
Sorry, you interrupted the straw man fallacy that he was about to use. Undoubtedly, flat earthers will... Let's just hear his straw man.
to discredit individual experiments we did.
No, we're leaning into them. I'm saying you either deny the flat Earth elevation angle measurement that you measured and called an experiment, or you kick that shit to the curb. That would be your experiment gets kicked to the curb, the one that you measured Earth flat with and called an experiment incorrectly. You can either kick it to the curb, or as we are doing, lean into it. Yeah, we're not discrediting it. I was literally on the phone with one of the people measuring them, telling him that it's a flat Earth. His response, quote, he tried to deflect with measurements. Which measurements would those be? The ones that you were making at the time of a flat Earth and calling an experiment, Duffy? I hope you burn in hell. That's where you belong. Hell. Yeah, John.
It's not.
Or Adam.
Well, there was two bits I wanted to make. I know you're going around. On top of John's prediction, there was also Brian's request. And wherever they flew to, because they didn't bother tracking it themselves, they flew there with straight and level flight. So that amazing distance that they went was across a flat plane as demonstrated by the pitch data. So wherever you went, whatever you saw, and I'm not one that says you didn't see it, as you like to say, you've got the testimony of a few people. Good on you. But wherever you went, whatever you saw, you travelled across a flat plane to get there. And we can evidence that. Yeah? And when you did get there, what we thought was a straw man turned out, apologies to me, to be a reasonable request. Who did have the guns? Who was going to stop? We didn't know back then, but we do now. It's the Chileans.
He also said the final experiments, plural. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Or was I hearing that wrong?
No, you're not hearing that
now,
wrong.
That's them again strawmanning that taking an elevation angle measurement of a flat plane is somehow now to be convoluted with the term experiment. It's how ill-informed they are.
And last but by no means least, he's suggesting that we would disavow their non-experiments actually flat Earth measurements as flat earthers. Wrong. We're saying, well done. And I personally told one of the participants while he was making the measurements. Didn't I? There's a song made about it. Maybe you missed it.
Yeah,
Well, at the same
but how
time,
many
ignoring the
final
rest.
experiments? There's only can be. It's like the Highlander. There can be only one. Why is that pluralized?
Because McDuffie is a cretin, an idiot, a numpty, a fool, an unreasonable tosspot who thinks that he can pluralise something that's described as being final. He's a wanker. There's no other words for it. A stupid moron.
It's a trademark.
There's a from the Bible reading heathen over here. There's a bit I pulled out, Neil, which I thought was quite applicable here from Romans 16, verses 16 to 18. Can I just quickly read it?
Yes, please.
Just a heads up. Salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ salute you. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offences contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own belly, and by good works and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. Romans 16 to 18.
Right, we got Awake Souls in the chat saying, we predicted it to 100th of a degree per second. Good on you. So you're predicting the flat Earth elevation angle measurements that they'd be making and got them right. Okay, absolutely outstanding. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's people like Ronnie and Jason. Have I got their names right this time? Hopefully I have. I don't want to offend them. That have been hanging around, and it's only since Jaron's come out as an egregious shill that you've come on my radar again. In other words, it's like, hang on a second. I do remember Jaron casting aspersions on those two characters. Yeah? Why? Well, it's probably because, like us, they were onto something, that they're doing good work. Now, I also remember all the nastiness that people pour on them and us, because it's done for a reason. The people who are actually dedicating their time to this subject, like us, like them, Awake Souls and... can someone just remind me of their names? It is Jason and Ronnie, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, right. They should be on here. They should be joining us, right? They should be on the show. We should be interacting with each other more. They've been doing it 10 years, like we have. Now, I'd like to say the same things about people like Dell, but Dell seems like a shill too. A shill for Upward Rising Earth.
Deceivers, sowers of confusion.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I've never had any beef with those two. Have you ever had beef with Jason and Ronnie?
Not beef. I've disagreed with the.
That's not what I mean. I've had plenty of disagreements.
No.
I disagree with fundamentally a lot of what they do. That's not what I mean.
No, but then no.
Right. They're just people doing what they do, and where we would disagree is a similar vein to us disagreeing with someone like Arwin, right?
Yeah.
Right. But they're not calling us shills. They're not calling us scammers. If they disagree with us, they're going to disagree on principle of argumentation rather than whether or not I beat my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully they'll make an appearance. Hopefully we'll see some of them on the show. They're obviously up there in our chat. I want to see more people who are previously on the fringes of Flat Earth come together. It's like, I see you, right? I'm looking at you, Ronnie, and going, you used to be fat. Why have you got so fit and I've got so fat? The world's not fair. No, that's not what I really want to ask. But the point is that they've been around doing the do, right? Just doing what they're doing. Well, I want to now prop my head above the precipice, if that's the right word, once the dust is settled from TFE, and go, who's still looking around? Do you remember me talking about this as the Dust Bowl example while TFE was going on? Going, after it ends, we'll be looking around going, who's still around? There'll be people who reveal themselves as shills from within the dust, and there'll be people on the outskirts of the dust looking in, eating peanuts, going, well, this is interesting. And then you suddenly look around to the periphery of the Dust Bowl, and go, oh, hello, I remember you. Yeah, you've been here 10 years too, haven't you?
There was another prediction overlooked.
What was that?
He said that I predicted the downward vector they would use for every weight scale they used.
That was the first experiment that he did. That was the thing that compelled me to go live, because I didn't feel it was a sufficient response to just point out that they're levelling their tool perpendicular to the plane of reference to then weigh something. Any more for any more?
Yeah, I might say something before you go. Yeah, just so the audience know, Adam brought it up earlier, but Adam just gave a quick kind of summary. It wasn't actually the correct summary. No offense to Adam, I don't expect people to remember it every time. I contacted Will Duffy before any of this happened, and I said, at the time we didn't have the pitch data of any pitch data from commercial airliners, and I said, why don't you get the pitch data from two well-known companies of two long-haul flights? You know, just a few hours even, right? And that'll prove or disprove whether it's a globe or if it's flat, right? And I made a video especially for him, and I sent it to him via email, and he came back to me and said that he wouldn't watch my video or address anything that was in it or anything that I said until I agreed to some heap of nonsense.
Don't push past that. Don't just push past that. The heap of nonsense that he wanted you to concede to, I remember quite distinctly. He wanted you to concede that if they see a 24-hour sun in the Antarctic region, that it debunked the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, and that if you were to concede to this position, he would then study your video. That's what he asked you for.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it had something to do with the email. Yeah, so I just ignored him after that and just made a video pointing out that he refused to watch the video because under conditions. Now, he did address the video and address the pitch data quite extensively since then, after the TFE. But he didn't want to know about it. Because my point to him was, this is not going to work. I said, what you're trying to do, it doesn't matter if you see a 24-hour sun. To someone like me, that means nothing. That's not going to change anything for me. Maybe someone else, but not for me. Whereas pitch data absolutely proves. It's data straight from a commercial airliner. And whether it's flat or whether it's slope. And he didn't want to know. So he didn't want to do anything that would prove or disprove. He only wanted something that would somehow prop up some ridiculous belief he has. That's all he wanted. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Perfect. Any more for any more?
Another one.
Oh, yeah, sorry, John.
Oh,
sorry, just at the end of that. Sorry, just for those who don't know, we did get that data, and it proves it's flat. Sorry, thanks, John.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was going to say, another prediction, I believe, was if you measure the elevation angle of the sun above the horizontal plane of reference for 24 hours, then the Earth is a horizontal plane of reference.
Yes.
That's
the prediction, if you want to call it a prediction. I mean, it's just a statement of absolute fact that doesn't need affirming. But yeah. They did measure the plane of reference for angles to the sun for 24 hours. Therefore, Earth is a plane of reference as measured.
Well, actually, their measurements, although they were flat Earth measurements, the actual measurements themselves are in question. The reason they are is because I pointed out that the coordinates given for the two camps don't match. They don't match the position of the mountain, and they don't match the elevation between the two camps. So you couldn't even trust, let's just say if they said there was a 13-degree angle or a 20-degree angle, you couldn't trust any of that because the coordinates can't be trusted. So, but the measurements would be a flat Earth measurement.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's win-win for us. So your flat Earth measurements aren't accurate enough to call experiments. Go away and get us the coordinates that are also only capable of description with respect to a flat plane. We're talking about coordinates, aren't we? Yes, we are. So that'll be a flat plane reference that you go and dig out to get it more accurate for your flat plane elevation angle measurements that weren't quite accurate enough. Okay? So then we can study whether or not they're flat Earth. No, that's a given. Either you get on your knees and acknowledge the Earth that you've measured flat, or you relinquish your so-called experiment using flat Earth measurements. I don't care which you do. It's just measured flat. This isn't contestable. It's a statement of absolute fact. Right, any more for any more? Last call. No? With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, smashed the super chat and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.